everybody. We certainly are live. I want to give a few minutes for more people to join, if at all possible. The phone's blowing up here, so it's going to be kind of a crazy broadcast. I'm going to come back and join you again this evening at 7 o'clock to give you more of an update. But we have so much going on that I wanted to be able to at least give you some updates of where we are currently. Getting some comments in, which is terrific. Just wanted to start from the beginning. First of all, I want to let you know that everybody did an incredible job yesterday as far as getting out the vote. I have never seen lines in so many parts of Michigan where we had not seen lines at polling booths. We got pictures posted all day long of lines to the road and around buildings that never have existed in the past. We truly believe that in the state of Michigan, that if every vote is indeed counted, the proper votes are counted, that indeed we will prevail in Michigan for both John James, for President Trump, and certainly some of these local races that have turned out to be closer than maybe they should be. Just going to go back to my comments here, make sure I'm seeing everything from you guys. I know you probably have seen and heard an awful lot today. I want to give you some updates. I want to give you some good news first, and then but before I start, you'll notice there's a post that is put in here about an urgent call for needs at Cobo Hall right now. There is a lot of shenanigans happening there. They are overwhelmed with volumes of ballots. As probably some of you have heard and read, 38,000 ballots were delivered about 3:45 a.m. from post offices to Cobo Hall from Wayne County. We don't know why these were delayed until after pretty much everything was kind of closed down. But there's a lot of suspects going on with these ballots. We have people that have been on the ground there and been inside. I started this morning with phone calls from Patrick Kolbeck, from Gordon Pennington, who's been connected with us, who are inside. Tim Griffin, as some of you may have gone through some of the training with him. The Election Integrity Fund is basically who we're working with now. It's not the party itself, though we understand that the party is indeed sent people to help at Cobo Hall. They were prepared for this, meaning the Democrats. The liberals had everybody from the AFL-CIO to UAW people to liberal organizations that came out of the woodwork that have shown up to help try and basically run through a lot of these questionable ballots and get them opened up. And if we don't have enough people to oversee those people, we're going to have a lot of lack of integrity that's going to take place. So we still need help. And the reason we need help is not that they don't have enough people, but some of them literally have been there for 24 hours. Some have been there for 16 hours. They're exhausted. As a couple of them mentioned to me, they literally thought they're going to be falling asleep on their feet and yet trying to be sharp. The other organizations have people flowing in and out. It's a tough situation. I've been in contact with the John James campaign as well. They are crying out for help down there as well. We know that the National Party is aware. I am a little taken aback by the fact that the party wasn't more prepared to have an army of people, not for some reason believing this might transpire, but I believe we've talked about it for days, if not weeks. Maybe it's because so many of them thought that Michigan was a lost cause, and I truly believe in a lot of cases that was the way it was. Now, that wasn't what President Trump believed, as you probably saw with all of his visits that have happened, including Grand Rapids, which my wife and I were there, as many of you were on the night before or I should say election day, early in the morning. We got home, I think, just before 3 a.m. It was an incredible event. I don't know how many people. I've heard 30, 40,000 people that were in the Grand Rapids area for that. The turnout, again, has been amazing. President Trump is the one who absolutely believed that Michigan was in play. We know that Stand Up Michigan and all the organizations have helped get a large number of people who did not vote in 16, hadn't voted in the past maybe at all, or certainly have skipped several elections, have come out and vote, and they voted in huge numbers. So that's what I know as far as that. I've read a bunch of things, by the way, with these comments about the Sharpies and the, I don't honestly believe if it went into a machine and it counted your vote, everything we're hearing is those votes are counting Pencils, obviously not the case, but as long as it was something to fill in the block, you should be just fine with those. That is not the biggest problem we have. What we have is mail-in ballots, probably with signatures that don't match, probably with problems. We can't verify all of that in all those cases, but this is going to be such a tight election. I've also just got off, and I'm going to cover this more tonight so that we don't have to cover it this afternoon, because right now, if you are available, if you can get to Cobo Hall, the post that is on our page and in the group, Stand Up Michigan to Unlock Michigan, from the Election Integrity Fund, Amy Hawkins put it in there, and you'll notice we've been posting a lot of things. This particular one is entitled that we need help now. It gives the phone numbers when you arrive of Tim Griffin, and another phone number on there as well. They will get you credentialed in a matter of 20 minutes and get you there to basically relieve some other people. We need help down there if you at all can go. And if that's the case, just throw into the comment that you're going to be able to go. We're trying to get another 75 to 100 people to be able to show up there. So we need help in that way. So let's just back up here and give you some facts of some great information. When we did the 1945 Unlock Michigan petition, one of the worries and concerns that we had, I'm just going to get rid of another call, is that we needed to maintain the House of Representatives. It was a lot in question. A lot of people, just like didn't believe we'd have our volunteers there, have absolutely, when you showed up in the big numbers you did, you remember we had these seats. I've got 10 of them right here. They were seats that we wanted to retain. They were open seats that were termed out, and there were some seats we wanted to flip. The great news is that with everything that's come in now, and we know there are some that have not counted everything, but we are absolutely convinced that we have maintained the House of Representatives for the Republicans, and that is a huge victory for us. This means that whenever we can put the pressure on our Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, to affirm our signatures, then we do have the votes to repeal the 1945 law, and that is going to happen now. We also will have new leadership in the House, and I can tell you, if you watched our video from the other day, they are hearing your voices, but they're going to hear from us much louder, much more clearly, because obviously they took the pathway of following none other than the media, none other than the pollsters who were saying that the COVID shutdowns were 60% popularity. It is absolute and utter BS, people. It didn't exist. The numbers and the voting turned out it didn't exist. And the leadership that was in Lansing followed the polls, and they've got to get off of that and start trusting the people. But we, the people, are here to stay. Stand Up Michigan is going to continue to grow this, and we're going to have to move to a different platform. I'm not saying we're not staying here. We have to continue to capture email addresses and have yet another place so that we're not going to be suppressed now or in the future. We need to grow this to 500,000 to 1 million people, and we are going to be working county by county in the future. But the first thing I want to say is that we have maintained the House. We are looking at, again, a 58 to 52 majority. We did lose 2 seats that we were worried that we might lose, but we also flipped 2 seats. And so it looks like it is a wash, meaning we have the same majority we had before. We will have a new Speaker of the House, however, because Speaker Chatfield is termed out. Therefore, we're going to have it sounds as if it's going to be Jason Wentworth. We will be in contact directly with Jason and with their team once this transition starts. But this means that the power of the purse is in the hands of the conservatives, and we need to get the House of Representatives on board with the people. We need to start doing the people's work, and we will get after that in January. And yes, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of you. We are going to be the spokesperson if that's what it takes moving forward. So I want you to be aware of that. Secondly, we talked about elections. We talked about splitting the vote. And I don't know how many of you that were out there. I'm just going to throw this one up there. The House of Representatives, we know, I'm slipping right now to the state Supreme Court. It looks as if we have lost that battle, meaning that the state Supreme Court is officially going to be a liberal court going forward. Markman is termed out, as you were fully aware, and we knew that the current justice was likely to get reelected. She was in huge numbers, and she tied herself with lots and lots of money to Elizabeth Welch, and Elizabeth Welch has been declared the winner. Mary Kelly, who we talked about with so many of you, and there were so many that talked about, what about Kelly Morgan? What about this? What about that, right? And what did we say about splitting the vote? What did we say was going to happen? And I just want those of there from other organizations and that to look that their principles that they stood under very well cost us the Supreme Court, because it looks like it is going to be in the neighborhood of only a 100,000 vote deficit. I'm not saying that's the only thing. Brock Schwartzel also got in the neighborhood of 900,000 votes, but he will finish in fourth, it sounds like, which means that third was Mary Kelly. It looks like it could be 100,000, could be narrower than that. That's a very, very small margin between her and Elizabeth Welch, but it indeed will go. And take a look at those numbers of Morgan and see exactly where you see those coming in at. And if it wasn't exactly what we told you along the way, nobody wanted to follow that information, thinking that they were being told good information. And understand, we're not talking about the quality of the individual, but we have to win races in order to control what happens. And then we have to make sure that we attract candidates who will stand up and fight for us. Some of the people that are in our legislature, even though they have an R behind their name or a D behind their name, but especially some of those with the R behind their name, did not fight for the people. They stood up and listened to polls, and it turns out that they should have been fighting with us, and I think we would have done even better, especially in the House of Representatives. Several of these seats that we talked about flipping are literally within an eyelash. We're talking about 1 to 2 points. A lot of those did not have money put into those campaigns, and they weren't run boldly because they were told, be careful. The people like the lockdowns of COVID. They're fearful. As it turned out, I don't believe that was the case. It certainly is equal, and there are a lot of fearful people out there, but our message came through loud and clear. I'll cover again that more tonight, but it does look as if the Supreme Court's gone, which is all the more reason why the House of Representatives staying in the Republicans' hands is a gigantic victory for us, because it means that this 1945 law is not going to be able to go through and go back up the courts. It has already been done, and as soon as our signatures are verified at whatever point in time that she decides to get this done, and we are going to put some pressure on her like you've never imagined. We talked about showing up in Lansing. We may have to show up in Lansing, and we've mentioned it before, but we want that law repealed. We know we've got more battles with the Health and Human Services and those departments. But it is very important, people, that we take one battle at a time. And right now, we have to continue to fight to lock this door down when it comes to these last few House seats. When it comes to John James in the Senate, we have to help him. If you can get to Cobo Hall, if you can help, it's in the page there. The phone numbers are there. Where to park is there. And how to get in and verified. If you can show up there anytime this afternoon or this evening and relieve somebody else who's in that situation down there and helping, it would be hugely. There is leadership there. Don't worry, you don't have to lead it. You just have to be trained and know what to do and to basically, again, do some questioning on some of those areas. So tonight I'm going to come back on at 7 o'clock. I should have some more information. I also want to share with you, I just got off a national call. I know everyone on this call has got to have heard of Judicial Watch. And I just got off the phone with Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch. They are very involved in Arizona. They're very involved in Pennsylvania and in Michigan and seeing what it is they need to do from a legal aspect. The Trump campaign is very much there, but I would ask our legislators on the Republican side, I would ask for our legislators and our congressmen in Michigan on our side to begin to join together and stand together and demand that the people who properly voted be all counted, but that people and votes that come in, and if they don't have postmarks or if they are being brought in after the fact, that they not be counted against what is against the law in the state of Michigan. It's been declared that way. The same thing we're seeing happen. I want to let you know, I also have been on the phone with some people in Arizona. Arizona is not lost. Arizona is going to be much closer. Fox News did a terrible job last night. I hope most of you went to Newsmax and started watching that. It's on all your cable networks. It's also available over the internet. They did a terrific job. Sean Spicer and crew did a great job last night. And Dick Morris was on there and a lot of good people. Fox News calling Arizona before hardly any votes were really cast, and yet calling Virginia with only one, what was it, 1% in, and it got to be much closer. We believe it suppressed some of the things going on. But I want to tell you that Arizona is not lost. Nevada is not lost. Pennsylvania is not lost. Georgia is not lost. And Michigan and Wisconsin don't have to be lost either. There is work to be done on all of these fronts, and I can promise you that we're trying to do the work together. We need your help. We need you to continue to be strong with us. And again, at 7 o'clock tonight, I will give you more and more updates. This national call I was on right now was with some key people from the Heritage Foundation, from Judicial Watch, and whatever, on not only what's going on in Michigan, but what's going on in the country. And I can tell you that internally, they're feeling much better. I'm not going to give you sources right now. I'll see if I can give some more of those tonight at 7. But the certain people within the party are much more optimistic than they were 6 or 8 hours ago. The media is not being honest with you about what's left to count or what hasn't been counted or where they're from. But we also know that there are ballots that potentially are being counted that may or may not, or should not be counted. But right now, it's a matter of counting every vote that should be counted. There are some challenges going on in Wisconsin as well. So I am glad that you joined with me this afternoon. I'm going to click on comments again here, see if I can see if there's anything here that we see. A lot of you are worried about the cheating, fraudulent, whatever. Look, we can only control one vote at a time. There are going to be some challenges, especially if we can lock down Georgia and a couple of these areas. If we could potentially get a declaration in an Arizona or a Nevada or in a Pennsylvania, it's there. Understand that, again, a lot of you are out here. We know what you feel about rhinos and whatever, but right now we have to deal the cards we've been given. We have the strength in numbers to instill change. We also know that politics is local. Look at your local races, because a lot of those, we ended up with some great victories last night with a lot of people that got elected that may or not normally get elected in your community because of the large turnout that we had for President Trump. And John James, by the way, I think ended up with carrying a bunch of that turnout. I believe he actually helped the president in this case. So there are a lot of things going on. And, remember, Fox News talked about Arizona going blue right away. It was a complete and utter disservice to the party and to the morale. It's the only thing that Joe Biden had to talk about when he came out, and it wasn't even true. There were 1 million votes left to count, and it is going to be extremely tight. You will see there. And some believe that we indeed could prevail there, as we do in Pennsylvania. So I'm getting as detailed of information as I can. I'm going to share it with you tonight at 7 o'clock. In the meantime, pray. That's the one thing we know that we have. We have control over only certain things that we can control. We can control if tonight we don't sit and watch TV, but we might be able to go help a Cobo Hall. We can choose that. And if a number of you can do that, that could very well make the difference, not only for Michigan, but ultimately for the presidency and for the Senate, which is vital for us to keep the Supreme Court. So let's look at the Senate again tonight. I'll talk about that, but it looks very, very favorable to maintain the Senate for the Republicans, which means that will put checks and balances in place no matter what happens above that. But we're still battling in a few of these Senate areas where they're still trying to find some other votes. We're strongly believing we're going to get to this 51, which is vital. And as you know, we gained one in Alabama. We lost one in Arizona. We lost one in Colorado with Gardner. But I'll cover these more in detail tonight. I know I'm jumping around a little bit. There's just so much information coming in. We just want you to know that we're trying to get the truthful information, pass it to you as accurately as possible, and have you do what you can do. And right now, it is to pray. The ultimate person in charge knows the results already before they come, but they also depend on us. Just like with faith, it requires works. That means we have to do the work and continue the fight and not pay attention to the noise that is around us. The battle that we're facing isn't just against a rhino or a party or whatever. We have a battle that is in some ways a spiritual battle also going on. I know many of you understand and believe it, but we're not going to be succumb to this pressure. We are going to put our faith in God. We're going to believe in our way forward, and we will prevail in this one way or the other. You learn one way or the other, and like I said, we will move forward no matter what, because we must. We're going to do it stronger than we ever were before. We never had an organization or a grassroots group like this, and we are being sought after and looked at nationwide as an example. But we have got to begin to share with others who voted, and those that feel disenfranchised in some way through this process have got to join with us so that our numbers continue to swell and grow, so that we can have even a bigger voice on what happens in the future, both in the state of Michigan, and we believe a good template and example for what we need to do in the next 2 years across the country. Anything else that you might have? I'm going to click on some new comments if I've got some here. I know many of you have been praying, and I see it and understand that, and I know the frustration that we have, but you also need to understand this. We so overdid any expectation in Michigan and even in the country in who showed up, in who voted, in the strength. What we were told only a few short days and weeks ago was that we were going to lose by huge blue waves of people. And not only did that not happen, but in a lot of the state races and local races, we accomplished and gained an incredible amount. Our unity and the new voters, the additional voters who haven't voted in a while, have come out, and it is it's a huge testament to you and to all of us. We do have to continue to work with the people that represent us in Lansing, and believe me, they are listening, and they're going to be listening a lot more after this election, when they realize both what has been and what we accomplished despite what they did or didn't do, and also what the opportunities that lie before us are. And we have to continue to rise up new and additional quality candidates at all levels throughout our state. So I don't want to take up any more time now. What I want you to do is join me back at 7 o'clock tonight. I'll have updates for you on probably just some more information from our state numbers as they come in. I'll give you an update from what I'm hearing inside of Cobo Hall and what's happening there. Pray for the workers there, and that there will not be any violence or whatever. The National Guard has been sent into Wisconsin and areas specifically to make sure that a large group of ballots of votes that were printed incorrectly have to be redone to make sure that those are all counted. That is a huge thing for us in Wisconsin when it comes to that for the state of Wisconsin, for Trump as well. So there's a battle on about 5 states: Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. That's where the battle lies. And we're gaining in a lot of areas. And as you know, from where they were at 3 a.m. until 8 a.m., it went in a very negative direction. But we do have a path forward. And the great news is the one leading the path is God himself. And it's our job simply to do the work and follow and have faith and believe, and we shall again prevail. Regardless of the outcome of the election, we will prevail ultimately in reaching more people for him as well. So I'm gonna chime off here now and join you back at 7 o'clock. Please join me then, and we will and tell your friends to join so that you can pass along some positive information, because some of what I'm getting is information that isn't being offered very much through the media, and not even through our own leadership, even in Washington. So there's more to come. Have a great afternoon. Be prayerful. If you can volunteer, go to that link, call those phone numbers. Let us know in this chat or in these comments that you're able to go, so we can start keeping track of who's going. So we'll talk to you at 7. Have a great afternoon.